Well, myself and my siblings have always been together. It's we see my senior sister as our mom now. She's been there for all of us, for both of us. Beyond my sister till date, we talk like almost 10 times in a day. We say everything as it is. We fight when we have to fight. We respect each other. We go even into our families. My kids will see my junior brother as like their friend. They see him as that jolly fellow, and they see my senior sister as their big mother. They call her Big Mommy. My nephews, my niece are like, it's a close knit family. It a phone call away. No matter what the problem is, we're open to discuss it. We're open to talk about it. We're open to support each other. We do that till date, and it has really, really, really helped. I think whatever issues that come between us are always resolved internally, and I think the our foundation had really, really, with my mom saying, she will always say it, that the last thing you guys will do is to stay apart, and we've always kept our wishes and tried to stay together. So yes, support is very strong, and that support system has been something that has worked for us till date. Well, in one word, I will say, well, I probably won't be able to describe my household in one word, but I'll say we were closely knitted. It was full with. So if you say in one word, I would say it was a house based and built on discipline. Yes, I think it was based on discipline, because for everything you were going to do, it was going to follow a particular code. Like it had to be in a particular way. We had the way things were being done, and that will come from my dad, and I think everybody took that way. So my household will be found on discipline. Discipline will be that major word that I would use to describe what the household was. Again, when I look at everything I've achieved, which childhood struggle do you think shaped you the most? I think, again, just like I said, it was repeating a class. I think that was that point where I woke up to pick my life for myself and take those major decisions that I have to take. It was that moment of failure. I think that I took. I sank into it, and I refused to stay in it. I think that was the biggest lesson for me, and ever since then, failure has always been like a stepping stone. Those rejections that you get when you do your applications, when you try to write exams, when you try to develop yourself and things don't go your way. I think learning to manage that started from failing in SS2, and then being able to look into the face of every other person that you've met and be able to go back, stand tall, and compete. I think for me, that's the biggest lesson I will take, that have taken me throughout my journey. While there are a lot of other lessons, that failure was the biggest foundation that I could ever have had, and it made my life better. I must say, I look back every time, I tell myself, if I had not repeated that class, I don't know. I don't know where I would have learned it from. It was an early learning. It was at about 15. It was the best thing that could have ever happened to me, and I'm grateful to God that that happened, and I took it well, and I've grown with it, and I'm better for it today. Well, many children in similar situations feel stuck. You start? What helped you start dreaming bigger? Well, I think, in my opinion, I think that we got the dynamics today are a bit different, where the kids today believe that they are entitled. For us, we knew that we needed to push harder, we needed to knock harder, we needed to keep knocking until the door breaks. So first thing first is to believe very, very strongly in yourself, as failure does not determine how much. Initial failures does not determine how far you will go or how much, unless you stop dreaming and you stop chasing your dreams. I think, again, everybody has a mentor. My dad was a mechanical engineer, so in the first place, that was where my dream started from, and I'd always wanted to be like him. He designed for Benz. While I don't design for Benz, I design other systems today, and I'm happy for where I am. But I think that first thing first is that the children of today, children at that age, 15, 16, 17, should focus more on developing themselves and getting the right foundation. They should be strong enough in their heart. You don't have to have it all. It's that resilience to move towards people that will guide you to that path that you seek, ask a lot of questions, ask a lot of questions, ask a lot of questions. And then the answers you get will be the light that you need, that will help you to shape your path as you grow along. I think for me, it was just the determination to find my path, even though I don't know where I was going. But I was asking questions. I was trying not to fail again. I was clearing my head. Failure was not going to be something I was going to entertain again. So I was going to do my best. And if it doesn't come my way, I was going to try again. So it's the ability to stand up when those things happen to you, and then you can take it very strongly, will be my message back to the kids of today. Do not get lazy. Do not get addicted to games. While we had it then, we still knew that they were just healthy competition that we had amongst ourselves. When you fail, you need to stand up again and try again, and then that's the only way you can get better at the things that you do and get the desired results that you want. Well, if you look at small wins and where success was I think it was, again, it depends on how we look at it. So those very small wins that made it look like success was possible was passing my JAMB exam, and that feeling of getting admission. I think again it would be passing, like completing my academic chase at the time, gives you that hope. However, while I was in school, I started working with my brother-in-law who had an IT company. So the ability to be able to create those networks and complete simple tasks was also fulfilling for me, and made me know that I was heading somewhere. While it was difficult, that spirit to be able to push for more, do more, create value and give back as much as you were being taught, the ability to be able to go to site alone and deliver on complex tasks at the time was those things that gave me the confidence that I could do it. And then it continued to build up from there. So while passing my exams, first was that small little win that made me know that yes, I could do it. The taking up of responsibility in terms of the technical space when I found myself alone as a young engineer was also a few things that I think continued to inspire me. While they didn't come cheap, and they came with some candle nights, yes, the ability that those things work and they work according to how they should have worked was part of those eureka moments for me, and it also made me define the path that I wanted to go as I continued to grow in the industry. Well, so how did school fit into my story? Well, I think I saw school as a necessity. It wasn't an escape. I don't think I like school at all, but I just knew that to be able to achieve the things that I want to achieve, school was key. There was no how I was going to be an engineer without going to school. So I had to, while till date I don't like school, I know that it was a requirement for me to get to where I had to go to. I am not the book person, but I had to just do what I had to do. So I was clear in my head, and I knew that I needed to go to school, and I needed to do well in school, because there was no any other way for me in my head at the time. While I was trying to learn the trade that I was going to practice while I was going to school, but yet I knew. And again, Nigeria happened to be a certificate-driven environment, so I just knew that school was a must. I didn't take chances at my education at any point in time. It was just key for me, and it was a necessity. It wasn't an escape. It was something I had to do. I was very clear about it, and at the time I was in the university, I was very intentional about my grades. I know how it was going to be, so I decided to start chasing it at the time. It wasn't easy, as there were a lot of distractions. There were times where I failed one or two courses and I had to resit them, but I just knew that it had to be good grades for me, and that was the first point of call that I was going to be able to use to get to the place where I was going to get to. Well, there were a lot of mistakes that was made. I at some point in time I blew up a UPS which was going to cost my life. The senior engineer had laid down all the cables and was going to terminate the end part of the cable on the UPS, and had told me to wait. Unknown to me, he was going to switch off the mains breaker at the end. But because we were rushing and I wanted to go home quickly. What I did quickly was just to take the cable and then try to connect into the UPS directly. However, the other end of it was on a live cable, and then I blew up what you will call the IGBT within the UPS. It blew up totally. Luckily, I was wearing all my safety kit at the time, but that UPS was destroyed. The company I was working with at the time requested that I had to pay for that UPS. So what happened is, for 2 years of my life working, I was paying about 50% of my salary back to the company, which was a lesson for me. One, engineeringly. Two, I would have lost my life, and it taught me process. So while I continued to be on site after then, I became very, very, very safety conscious. And you would like to know that safety consciousness has also helped me again in another senior role where I had to follow due process, even though those processes were not written, supervising junior engineers before termination has been done, and that has earned me a lot of merit going forward, and it helped my development and my growth as well. Yes, I had a lot of mentors. Were there a mentor, teacher, or friend who influenced your direction? Yes, I had a lot of mentors at different times. In the days, I'd always wanted to be an engineer, and my dad was the very first mentor from day one. Seeing what he does, how he does it, was key to me, and that was it. And as I grew up, I had different mentors, big friends who were already engineers and was in the field. And at some time in my life, I was very lucky to have my brother-in-law as an engineer who had a company who I worked under, who was a real shot. I will say he taught me 90% of what I know today, and I really, really, really thank him for that. I learned from him. I followed instructions. I followed his lead. I continuously met. Even when I left his company, I continually went back to learn. When I had issues, it was somebody I could call. And then as we grow along, I had a set of friends who we were healthily competing with each other, and we were always writing certification exams together to pass, and we'll sit together. We work in very different companies, but we always align to each other to talk about these things. And then I'll circle back to my brother-in-law, who still happens today to be somebody I look up to and still talk about when I continue to have issues at work, on projects, or things that I decide to do. And as we move on, I have people that I envy among my friends, among my peers, who are doing way better, who has more experience, and I'm not ashamed to ask questions. Like I've always said, I'm not ashamed to query them. I'm happy for their wins. I let them know I'm happy for their wins. I call them, we'll laugh about it, we'll celebrate it. But when I need to ask questions, I do ask questions. So yes, I still continue to have mentor, and I'm being mentored along the way as I continue to chase my career and my personal life and how I want to live. So yes, mentors have been very, very helpful, and I would recommend that everybody should have a mentor outside of their primary family, and that will really help them. Well, the part of that childhood that still fuels me will be the background and the learnings and teaching that we have from home. That never give up spirit that I saw from my mom is one thing that have pushed me. Again, that discipline that we instill, discipline to wake up very early in the morning to get things done, to wake up very early in the morning to pray. The God factor is very key. To recognize the fact that there's a supernatural being somewhere, and that's one thing that we've always carried with us from home, to be able to do things diligently and consistently till it becomes a habit, will be something from my childhood that I've taken with me and will continue to be with me. Not to leave things for other people, assuming that they will do it. Make sure you're responsible, and you're responsible for your part, and sometimes for the part that goes beyond yours, because it will always help. Because sometimes when you leave the part of others for them to come to do, it will affect the part that you've done, and you could mess up the total project or the work that you came to do. So yes, that has been a major learning from me, from my childhood, that I continue to take alongside. That military background that gives you the ability to stay focused and disciplined in the things that you have to do and want to do is one of the attributes that I think I picked up from home. I think my background made me both. I really think that my background made me very empathetic, and much more driven. I think my background fueled my hunger for success. I think my background gave me that power to be able to see when people are struggling, even when they are not talking about it, and be able to lend them that helping hand to also be able to come up. I think my background gives me that drive that I need to fuel my, and I think it also helps me to be able to see things in other people's perspective, and then don't be quick to judge, and be able to help as well when I can. And I'm learning to be able to also say no sometimes, because yes, it can also be draining. But yes, my background has been a major boost for where I am and how I'm being shaped today. Well, today success to me will be, it comes in different dynamics. Success to me is able to put my own kids in a better position than I am, to be able to teach them discipline in a world today where we lack discipline, to be able to teach them to be empathetic in a world today where empathy is being lost, to be able to teach them to be upright. Success to me gradually moves away from the things that I achieve to the things that I can give back, to be able to make people smile more, to be able to do more for the generation coming behind me. While I would say that yes, I still have aspirations to do more in my career, I still have aspirations to give back a bit more, I still have a vision, but now I think I'll be more successful when I can maintain my own sanity, and I can maintain that balance of life, and then to be able to give a little bit more of myself to the younger generation, and see that they can flourish better than I've met them. That will be more relishing to me than anything else. To be able to give back generally, and then for my own kids to be able to make them see, to be able to make them better than I am, and to be able to pick it up in a positive way than where I left it. If you could talk to your younger self during one of those darkest moments, what would you tell them? Honestly, to my younger self, I would just say be more patient. Take the opportunities that come your way. I think I lost a lot of opportunities. I was scared. I was not daring enough. Take those opportunities. Take those opportunities. As in, what you don't try, you don't know. I think I'll tell my younger self to be more daring. I tell them to go to be more focused as well. To go for the opportunities that come. Take those chances, because you just never know. That would be it. Apart from that, I think I like my journey. I've enjoyed it. I'm relishing it. I'm still relishing it. And that's it. I don't think I look back and have any big regrets. No. So it would be just to take those opportunities. As I talk here, I remember some of them I didn't take, and then those are just the little things that I think I would tell my younger self. Well, my advice to single mothers raising kids today is to be strong, to be tough, to be strong, to be dedicated to the things they believe in, to tell their stories in positive light, and to focus very greatly on the things that they want to achieve. I think one challenge that we have is that dependency syndrome, is to look at it strongly and to know what their worth is. Some of the problems that they have is that they forget what their worth is, and they think that they have to depend on somebody, and then that person start taking advantage of them. I think it's to be strong and to be very clear with their kids what the situation is, not to hide it. I think that helped us really in my home. We know what the problem was, we know what the challenge is, and we were very clear on what we were going to do to make my mom happy. So, and I'm very sure when kids know and they know where their situation is, they will try to get out of it they'll be much more supportive to make sure that you all succeed, and not to be on the other side of the boat. So for single mothers to be more assertive, to be strong enough to face what their fears are, to be able to talk to their kids, and to be able to let them know what that situation is, so that they are all together trying to get out of that situation, and then the kids are fighting for them by doing the right thing, trying to succeed with them, and not doing those things that would jeopardize their happiness. Let them know that you are the one responsible for them, not being hateful of their father, and then that will be it, and then they will be stronger together. I think that help will come from above. There are a whole lot of helpers that came for us that we never knew. We don't know where they came from, and God was very merciful. And I think um, being there's a supernatural being out there, so being prayerful helps. Being prayerful helps, and having faith and doing the right thing also help. Yes, I think having the right mentor. For young people growing without a father figure, it's challenging. Yes, it's tough. Not even today, where you also think the person you're trying to take as a father figure is also struggling. But all hope is not lost. I think first thing first is to be able to find that mentor, maybe in a workplace. Use your instinct, use your inner mind. It talks to you. You listen. Pick a mentor, educational mentor. For some people, it could be their religious leaders. God guide us. Have a mentor. Be very close to your family. Talk to them. Even when you mess up, be open to talk. They can advise you. They can talk to you. Have a very, very close relationship with your siblings. If you have siblings, try to be somebody who is open enough to talk. And then get a mentor. It could be somebody at work. It could be somebody in the church. It could be somebody in the mosques. It could be somebody in the workplace. It could be somebody who you see who have achieved. Talk to them. Ask if they could be your mentor. People you can talk to really realistically. And again, above all, ask for God's guidance. He is always available to guide us. There are basic principles of life within the religious systems, and they work. They really work, and God truly exists, and He will guide. But again, physically, you need that mentorship. You need people who could guide you, tell you what the real truth is. Sometimes it will be very bitter, it will be painful, it will be hard and tough, and that's what you really need at that initial stage. You need the truth. It comes very painfully. It comes very tough. You need to toughen up. You will cry some days, wipe your eyes and try again, and then hopefully you will be able to break the yoke. Imagine my life as a movie. I think it will be, that movie will be, I came, I saw, and I'm still conquering. That would be what it would be. I came, I saw, and I'm conquering. That's what it would be. If you if you if you look at it from that perspective, we're still conquering. It was challenging, but yes, we're still here. We're grinding. We still have challenges. It's not all gone, but those challenges makes us better. So it will be, I came, I saw, and I'm conquering. I think it will be if my younger self see me now, I think he would. Two things will be surprised at the level of achievement in terms of academic prowess one I've tried to chase. We'll also be surprised in terms of professional achievement. One I've been able to achieve and then also continue to chase. I think my younger self will be proud and surprised at the same time to say, yes, how did you get here, and what are the secrets to be able to get to this position of yours? I'm not sure there's any part of my story that I think people misunderstood or misunderstand that I want them to know. I just think outside there, people perceive me to be a very, very tough person and very strict as well, like my younger cousins will think. But I strongly think I am not. I think I've got that soft side of me, but I just try to keep that to myself and be focused in the things we do. I still think people think that I'm very tough. I think they think I'm a very strict person, but I know that there's that joke side, that play side in me, and my kids would always say that yes, I have that side in me, and I continue to exhibit it as time and situation permits.